whole ecosystem is against you as a consumer, right? So people are either selling you commission-based products, and when there is commission baked into the products,
the
incentives are not aligned, right? So that person is not, whoever is selling you commission-based product will always sell you products which have higher commissions, right? And that is that's the biggest source of mistrust. The core purpose of why you invest or why you buy a financial product is getting defeated. The core purpose of you investing is to generate a second income, which is not actually happening. Consumers in India understand that there is risk and there are returns. Earlier, the chase was saying कि बस मुझे returns चाहिए, risk तो मुझे लेना ही नहीं है. Earlier, there was awareness about mutual funds, about stocks and all that. Now, people are actually taking action on it. And the huge amount of role that has been played is by media, is by content businesses, which have actually given that education. But the only checks and balances have to be put, whether it is misinformation or need to be figured out.
You must be thinking another pre-roll? Wait, let me just skip it. With all theory, there are some boring things which you can avoid, like the long wait for promotions or increments, or the numerous interviews before you land your dream job. At All Tuni, we make sure that you're future ready and skilled to be in the top 0.5% club. Click on the link in the description now.
In MBA specifically, before I come to Future Group, is we changed almost every professor we had. For a simple reason, the thing that the earlier professor was teaching had very little relevance to what we were doing with Shopperstop, for example, in outside real world, right? Very little relevance to what Rediff was doing at that time in the internet space. He said we being engineers, we couldn't understand a lot of marketing stuff, right? Which looks very abstract. So then we actually changed the professor who actually taught us consumer behavior in maths, and it was eye-opening.
So what is that business all about? What did it do?
So money sites, I think, is the same vision that continues today at ET Money as well. Is that if you really look at it, for consumers like you and me, more layman, consumers, our financial journeys are really broken. And when I say that they're broken, is that in this room, even after 5 years, if I ask this question, how confident you feel about your financial life, is there anyone who will actually confidently say, yes, I am confident about it? Like, there is no one. Like, I've asked this question on multiple audiences, hundreds of people there. Nobody raises a single hand, right? And it's just the sad truth of it, because it is the truth. Like, it's just that nobody is confident because people have not taken the right decisions, not had the right guidance, or the whole ecosystem is actually driven against you. Like, our one core belief, whole ecosystem is against you as a consumer, right? So people are either selling you commission-based products, and when there is commission baked into the products,
The incentives
are not aligned, right? So that person is not, whoever is selling you commission-based product will always sell you products which have higher commissions, right? And that's the biggest source of mistrust. So unfortunately, आज की डेट में, if there is someone who, अगर आपको कोई बैंक का कॉल आता है, तो you are actually kind of running away from that call for a simple reason. And people say that banks are the most trustworthy institutions on earth, right? And there you are actually avoiding the guy and they are after you, right? And the source of that mistrust is because of misalignment of incentives, right? Like, they're not aligned to you. And then there is this other thing of where the consumers are completely transaction or the players are completely transaction oriented. So they make money off every transaction that you do. So they'll keep on pushing you transaction. But what is happening in this process is the core purpose of why you invest or why you buy a financial product is getting defeated. The core purpose of you investing is to generate a second income, which is not actually happening. And when you have a second income, is where you actually are confident about your financial life, right? And when you're confident, then personally, I think what drives us as a whole company and the team at ET Money is that if we are able to kind of mint, say, at least 5 million, dollar millionaires out of ET Money user base, not from our team, but user base in the next 5 to 7 years. And imagine that if there are 5 million people who don't really care for, who are not working for money, the kind of potential that it can unlock is humongous, right? So I think there was this belief that there is an ecosystem which is not aligned. We understand technology, we understand mobile, and technology is the biggest leveler, right? So, and once the user comes online, has to be a complete transparency. Like you cannot just hide behind any fees, right, or behind any commissions. And there were changes. The third thing that actually pushed us was there was changes in the regulatory environment as well. So as a combination, it made a lot of sense to enter, and it continues to be the same, continues to be the same journey.
So did money sites become ET Money eventually, or was it a separate entity and then you started ET Money separately? What is the story there?
A series of like massive mistakes. So one was that we were like, now when we started money sites, we were the spoiled brats of money of InMobi. Like we had seen success, we thought that we'll just kill the whole world and we'll rule the world, right? And when we started money sites, we ended up checkboxing all mistakes that rookie entrepreneurs do, like one after the other.
Example?
Like not taking money from investors when you don't need it, or बहुत ही कम है पैसा, हम तो बहुत बड़े हैं. Also kind of being overconfident about your hypothesis, right? कि यार the world is going to change and it will change very fast, and technology is going to change the world super fast, and we'll have like millions and millions of people coming on money sites. And how do we actually hire and all? So I think there was a lot of learning, there were a lot of mistakes, and it was great to actually kind of over a period of time be self-aware that these are the mistakes that we did, right? And but the other external aspect of the reality of the business was that we are talking about 2011-12, where where people were yet to actually come to internet to do financial transactions, right? Buying financial products. So I think we were early in the market, building something that is available in the US now, right? We were trying to build in almost like 10 years ago. So very early in the market was one. So our learning was that we could have the best team, which we had. We had the best platform, but we did not have market power with us. Market power is a very important enabler when you actually are building any business, right, in that sense. And when I say market power, is there consumers coming in droves to actually take your product. So what we did was we actually hustled our way into Times Internet, said that we have this great platform, great set of board. Naveen, we were the first check from Bloom, actually, Bloom Ventures, probably the second check. And there was Prasad, who was also an investor in us, angel investor. We went to Times Internet, said that you have this amazing set of consumers who are coming and consuming content, whether it is news, whether it is entertainment, and we have an amazing platform. We could do a strategic partnership because we don't have those many users. So we went for a strategic partnership. The Times Internet team actually liked us a lot. Satyan actually, who is the vice chairman of Times Internet, actually liked us as a team, liked our product a lot. He said that why don't you guys come over and start building inside Times Internet, right? And that actually went on for like long time. We were continuously thinking, are we actually saying getting into a media company which is a conglomerate and and all those things, are we actually doing the right thing? So eventually eventually we actually kind of ended up becoming part of Times Internet. And because it took a lot of time to come to this realization that makes sense to be part of a larger group where you have access to a huge consumer base, I was the only person who was remaining in the company, and I was actually working on the side at InMobi also. So I went back to InMobi for almost 1.5 years. And in 2015 is where I came in at Times Internet. We acquired the IP of Money Sites, and that's how ET Money actually started. So the whole idea is that there is a lot of hard work involved, but there is a set of like you have to give chance to serendipity a lot. Like we end up being overly cautious about making our moves. And our first raise was an amazing story. When we were raising money, we had this professor who used to teach at BSc, Professor Paradkar, who was actually a huge guy in probably Tata Steel or L&T Steel at a director level and all that. We said that we'll actually go to him and ask for money for money sites. And he was taking a lecture at BSc on capital markets. And he said that I don't have much time, but you guys can hop on in my car, and we will discuss what you guys are building. And there was another guy who came in with us as taking a lift from the professor, Prasad, right? And he was part of the whole discussion that we are doing. And he has actually spent like 15 years in US. He was the MD for APAC Microsoft. We did not know him at that time. And this guy was, Prasad was continuously asking us questions, and we are pitching like the professor. And I'm just saying, why is this guy actually continuously asking questions and making our pitch like so bad and all that? Like, how will you guys do this? How will this become big? What are you doing and all that, right? And we were like continuously trying to ignore. Because this professor that I'm pitching, he's not listening because he's in the steel business and we are pitching an internet business, right? So, and we got off and on the other station, and from there, he came out, he walked with us and said that I'm ready to write a check for you guys. So again, it's actually the continuous hustle and the serendipity. Like, imagine we were actually avoiding this guy, and imagine if we wouldn't have got on together, right, on the other station. And I don't know how we were not even interested in taking his number, right? And in Bombay, we would have lost, right?
Correct.
So the idea is that, it's like being into your zone of, and if there is belief and you continue to actually chase it, a lot of things come together. And that's why people, we have been lucky, frankly speaking. Look at the journey now in that perspective, being an engineer, then doing something, and then doing something, then selling phones and not what all, right? And that actually is, but that formed such a strong foundation for us to actually kind of understand ki, like, there is this whole, resilience or acceptance that you build, right, as a team. So I think we've been very, very lucky around a lot of stuff.
So you've been doing this for almost 7-8 years now.
7 years, yeah, at ET Money.
So, I mean, now this is like a hot sector.
Space, yeah.
Everybody, like, so many apps have come up. You are like in hyper competitive space,
Yes.
in a way. So what do you tell yourself? I mean, what makes you believe that you still have an edge, or you are going to do this $5 million millionaires that you're talking about? वो कैसे होगा? What happens if the tide turns? Because currently the markets have been up for a while, interest rates are going up, the interest levels will go down. ये कितना टाइम YouTube पे लोग बेचते रहेंगे, ये वाला ऐप पे register कर लो, ये stock खरीद लो. At some point of time, that's going to all die down, right? So what gives you confidence that what you're building is still going to be there for a longer time?
Great question. The whole thing is that, as I said, the problem continues to be the same, right? Like, there is no easy way there is easy way to invest now. So at ET Money, to just give you the sense of scale, is at any point in time, there is 22,300 crores that gets managed on the platform at any given time, close to $3 billion. We add close to 600 crores, 500 to 600 crores of new investments every single month. We have close to 250 crores of SIP that actually gets, processed every single month. And not a single person is brought with cashback because it's not allowed by law. So imagine, like $3 billion, like 23,000 crores being managed on the platform. What does it tell us? It gives us huge confidence that there is trust that we have been able to create. And coming back to that whole point that, there is misalignment Nobody's thinking about consumers, whether the consumers are meeting their goals or not in terms of finances. And so we actually took away commissions from mutual funds. The way we have actually grown is to say that we won't take commissions. We have something called as a direct plan. So the commission, actually the user actually saves commission, right? Because he's not paying for it. And that 1% additional actually is like a huge saving over a period of time. If you do an SIP of 7,000 rupees over like 10 years, it will be close to 10, 12 lakh rupees of savings. But the larger point that I'm saying is that the scale at that ET Money today actually operates is huge. And it has actually, that is the confidence that we have, that if there is so much trust created, that so much hard-earned money is being invested via ET Money, and retentions are very, very high. People are not leaving our product at all. So if a user actually does a transaction on ET Money today, we can expect safely that he will be with ET Money for at least 7 years. That's what the numbers are.
Is it that you are forcing people to be in it, or they can walk away anytime they want?
They can walk away anytime. The regulation ensures that we cannot lock anyone in, right?
Exactly.
But the whole thing is, the way it is built with that core belief that we want to be on the side of the consumer. We want to provide them better, and smarter investing, powerful tools which are, which can be, enabled for the users. Like we have done at least like 11 to 12 big innovations in the space in the last, 4 years. Like we were the first guys to do video KYC. Earlier, there was no, for example, when we started ET Money, we said that we'll start with mobile. And there was no way to actually get new investors without having a physical process, right? 2015, I'm talking about 2016. So 2016, there was, actually it's just 6 years, right, in that sense. But there was no online process. So we were the first guys to do video KYC. We were the first guys to do instant SIPs. We were the first guys to do Aadhaar-based SIPs. So there is a continuous set of innovations which helped us to actually tap a much larger set of consumers who were starting their journeys on, of investing. Till today, 60% of investors who come on ET Money are actually new to industry.
Now, I think ये जो आपने बताया कि you want these many people to become rich, customers who are currently on your platform. How do you track, how many people are actually, getting wealthier, and is their financial health improving? Is there a way for you to track that? How do you do that as a metric?
Yes, great point. So what we do is all initiatives are driven from that aspect. That are we ensuring that users get higher returns while they have better protection against downside? So in fact, we launched a new product in Feb this year, which is called ET Money Genius. And what Genius does is it actually gives you a set of investing strategies which help you actually generate returns which are 60% higher than benchmarks and give you 40% additional protection. Today, if you like, one of the big things that was happening was that the first phase of ET Money, it was all about removing these frictions, right? Once you remove the frictions, the second phase was giving you awesome tools so that you can actually invest smartly. And then third phase is now that we are underway, where we are actually providing you recommendations, providing you those investing strategies which the world's best investors actually are.
But yeah, I want to play devil's advocate here, as in,
Sure.
I mean, everybody says this, right? I mean, a lot of people say that हम आपको ऐसी strategy देंगे कि you will become richer, we will give you better returns, etc. तो वो तो अभी सबका marketing है ये. My question is, it's definitely not riskless, right? I mean, you can still lose money. There is no guarantee that you're going to necessarily make money out of this if I'm a customer on your platform. So how much of that education do you do? That you are actually, boss, this is a risk, and
fair enough. So the idea was to actually give those tools and stronger tools to actually people can take their own calls. That was the second phase, which actually brought in a lot of innovations as well. Now, we have this huge YouTube channel, which has close to like 300,000 subscribers, which is geared towards providing that education. So we'll never, kind of sell you tips. We'll never actually tell you that this stock is good, this mutual fund is good and all that. We never actually, as a company, have actually said that you invest in new fund offerings, which are not for the retail consumers, right? In that sense. So, so that is a continuous exercise. If we don't do that, right, the users will not trust us. If I keep on pushing you, ki bas, buy this and you will be richer in like no time, that is not true. But the point is that if you're aware of, so now users in India, or consumers in India understand that there is risk and there are returns. Earlier the chase was saying कि बस मुझे returns चाहिए, risk तो मुझे लेना ही नहीं है.
There are many ways where people are given wrong information or are manipulated with the way the information is given. And maybe you have all the right, intentions at heart. But at some point, as you scale up more, how will you prevent mis-selling of your own product? Or have you put some checks and balances in the system itself?
We have actually kind of looked at it from the point of view that the source of mis-selling, can we actually design a business which is directly attacking that aspect itself and thereby generating trust? So that's where this scale has actually come in. So first is, we don't take commissions, we don't charge you for transactions. Genius as a product is a flat fee product, is where we actually ask you to pay for getting access to high-end, investing strategies, which are available to only HNIs today at a paltry sum of 249 rupees per month, and it is flat price. So it's not like if you have more money or, you will be charged more, you can start as small as 5,000 rupees as well, right? So the idea is that the business model in itself is designed that the mis-selling cannot happen.
Got it.
That is one. And second is, we don't have sales guys at all in our company. It's a completely zero sales.
No, but you would be doing digital sales. You'll be doing some digital marketing to get people to sign up, right?
So once the users come in, we cannot incentivize, so cashback is not there. So there is no way that we can actually do anything about it. The second part is that user will only pay us when the user is convinced about what we are showing, right? Because the moment the user is online, there is no way that you can be. And the third aspect is everything at AT Money is, as a principle, data led. So now, if I'm telling you that a particular strategy in Genius has actually performed this way for the last 16 years, you can, without paying, you can actually see that with data. So it's not like I'm making a claim because just I'm telling you that you should buy. So I think these three principles of designing the business in itself in a manner which is not missold, ensuring that there are no sales guys, it's digital only first only, and third is having insane amount of data-led communication ensures that mis-sell. And at scale, to answer your question more closely, is that what happens at scale, right? The thing is that at scale, our at least belief is that because the value that we are providing at such a low cost, we don't have an option to actually add a lot more sales around it. It is designed in a manner that it scales like a tech company than a sales company.
Fair enough. Got it. I'm going to open up the floor for questions for people.
So the very first question I'll ask is, I think you joined 80 times internet in 15, right? Yeah. So how has the whole media sphere, the media ecosystem changed within the last 7-8 years? Because people today are much more informed and much more proactive with their opinions.
Yeah. So the thing is that we are like 3 degrees of separation between the content and media business, because it's a fintech, financial services business, very different. Content ecosystem or media ecosystem is definitely kind of going through a huge change, right? And the way to look at that is to say that it's more education, transparent driven, at least in the financial space. There is an element of mis-selling or misinformation that is there, but I think at a net level, the consumers are benefiting, because at least from just keeping your money in savings account, which is a sure shot way of losing it, because you're getting 3-4% and then the inflation is at 8%. So in that awareness, earlier there was awareness about mutual funds, about stocks and all that. Now people are actually taking action on it, and the huge amount of role that has been played is by media, is by content businesses, which have actually given that education. But the only checks and balances have to be put, whether it is misinformation or need to be figured out that at an ecosystem level, I think.
Right. So Economic Times is a big name. It's a household name, and I'm sure they are very, very careful about their image. How did you ensure that you with 80 Money in a space where fraud is very likely, how did you ensure that the trust and the image of 80 was maintained?
So yeah, great question. It is, brands are like two double-edged swords, right? At ET Money, I think we have a very simple principle that because we are dealing with people's money, there is literally zero margin of error on security. Like we learned our lessons and all that earlier. But when we came to, when we have been starting, since the day we started, we were very clear that security will be a P0 thing for everything. See, it's very aligned. If we are dealing with money, trust is the problem that we are solving, and if we don't kind of do that, then any which ways we'll be out of business. And all the things that I talked about are actually designed to ensure that there is high amount of trust. And once you are on the side of the consumer, then your brand will not get negatively impacted.
You have a different ideology with 80 Money. And in a very competitive market, as I see today, when I was doing the research, I could see that there were all types of brands such as Money Control and Zerodha and Grow and whatnot. How did you ensure that despite that, even if you do not have aggressive marketing, how did you ensure that that 80 Money stayed afloat and stayed had its presence in the market?
So I think first is it's a usual answer for everything is the space is massive, right? And wealth tech as a whole industry or wealth management as an industry is just starting. There is $1 trillion that is lying in savings account and deposits today, right, in India. So there is like only 5% of households have any access to capital markets products or are actually investing, only 5%. So no, we don't worry about what's happening in the space beyond a point because we know that there is a huge opportunity to get unlocked. Competitors are actually figuring out their way of, looking at the opportunity and capitalizing on it. We have a very different way, and we are very clear that we are in the business for long term, which means that we have to be a sustainable business, which means that we actually don't overspend on like crazy amount of marketing, where we don't see like our cost of acquisition being in right places, right? So I think the capital or the whole efficiency bit is at the core of ET Money. And because we are thinking continuously long term, it ensures that it works out for us.
In fact, I've been a user of ET Money for the past 3 years, and I've also subscribed to ET Money's channel.
Great.
The product Genius has been launched recently.
Yeah.
So before that, how was ET Money making money? Because I mean, your focus has always been on cutting down on whatever mediator money is there and offering low cost plans to the users. So was it profitable back then, or how was the money making of the profitability of ET Money's journey?
So we traded some aspects of it via insurance and lending as a cross sell. That's what I think he was talking about, and that paid our bills to an extent. But Genius is going to be the biggest monetization lever for us to make money. And why we are excited about it is that, as I said, I started the whole journey by saying that there is a misalignment, right? And if your business is not designed to solve for that, Genius is something that is designed to, ensure that we are completely aligned. If we don't give you that value, we are just 3 seconds away from a cancellation, right, on the app. So I think it actually took us time to arrive at something which ensures that it's a very sustainable business model, and it is also recurring because it's subscription based. So every year we get continuous money than a one-off and all that. So I think we are actually we were not profitable, but with Genius we intend to be profitable in few years.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mukesh, for your time.
Yeah,
it was great listening to you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
You must be thinking another pre-roll? Wait, let me just skip it. With Alt-Uni, there are some boring things which you can avoid, like the long wait for promotions or increments or the numerous interviews before you land your dream job. At Alt-Uni, we make sure that you're future ready and skilled to be in the top 0.5% class. Click on the link in the description now.